So when I go out for a walk, God forbid I should just walk. I carry bags because I'm that person and I see things in nature that I want to paint. First of all, I'd love to paint this, but more than that, I want you to see the palette. So the palette is something that you could base an entire painting on. And this is the dirt from the ground mixed into the pine cone. I guess it fell or whatever. This is a blemish. So these colors right here would make, like, what's in this is not just one color. There's many colors and many values here. So this would be a beautiful start to a painting. When you're gonna paint, you should try and plan out your palette. So here's another one. See how the darker browns are inside and lighter browns, and even this, the sap has hardened and become a crystallized color, which would probably be absolutely stunning in a painting. Blue spruce. Blue spruce is beautiful. And if you're looking carefully, there's two different colors. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. One is blue and one is green. Different stages, same tree, different stages of growth, I would guess. I am no arborist, but so this is another one. Beautiful colors. So I would, planning a painting, I would swatch out some various colors. Let's say we did burnt umber. Happen to have it right here. So I'm going to burnt umber and I'm going to see, is that close in proximity to this dude, which it is. And then that's a pretty good value. If I wanted to change that so I get the darker hue that's in that same pine cone, I'd reach for a little bit of violet, which you can't see on camera, but I'm going to deepen this. And I always have a tendency to choose some of the darker greens or the Payne's gray. There she goes. So now I put a little violet in there and I put a little of dark green. So there you have it. Those are the two hues that would go with that. And then you would, variations of this color. So more value, more pigment in the water would bring a darker brown again. And then we could go back to adding just the 100%. So that's pretty telling as to how many values you could actually get in one swatch. So this is how you would plan out your palette moving forward. I would take, if I was going to try and capture this guy, let's say, we've already done a good job here because that would probably be that. I would have to lean towards having some yellow ochre in this one. Let's see if I have it out anywhere. I do not. So let's get some out and see. I find the tubes for watercolor, like compared to acrylic, they're so delicate and you squeeze it and it, like, I don't know. So that's not anything there, but you could actually incorporate it into the painting, the palette for the painting, by maybe mixing it with the burnt umber that we had before. So there we have that, which becomes a little bit more this color. So now I've added a yellow ochre, and then there's the thousands of values that go with that. That would be amazing to work with. The dark, dark, dark is always my go-to, which is the Payne's gray. I'm looking around for it, guys. Where's my Payne's? Okay, I have a big Payne's because that's how much Payne's gray I love. So I'm going to put some Payne's gray there. Always a go-to. So the Payne's gray would be stunning in this palette in all its values. So that's gorgeous together, and then you can mix them. So you have quite a bit of these guys in this palette. So there you would have a pretty good palette to start a fall scene, a forest scene, obviously or you know, it could also be a palette to decorate your house. You could add some oranges to that, which would be gorgeous. Let's see what this one is. This is Aussie Red Gold. nice, beautiful color. You could throw this in the mix. Then you end up with another version, another different color. So stunning. That would go into this palette. So that would be the palette I would use. And if you stick to it and you mix them with each other, the painting itself will be harmonious. Now I'm going to take you into another little thing that where we live, snails gather and leave their carcasses behind. So we already see some of this palette coming through here. So that's kind of nice, so that it works also. But I want you to see this one. If I hold it up to the camera, look at this guy right here. Look at the colors. It's corally. And this one here is the browns and the beiges. There's even some with green. So a lot of these tones here, we've already met the obligation of getting that done. So this palette works well with this shell. I think my point here, guys, is that you just need to think outside the box a little bit. I can't go outside in peace and just walk. I'm really looking around and I'm enjoying that. So this is Shell Pink by Holbein. Stunner of a color. One of my all-time favorites is also Buff Titanium. It's the hottest color on the market these days, it seems. Somebody told me that at one of the stores. So that's a buff. And the pink, I mean, you could go even a little into the yellows on this one. This, I can't even say it. Giallo di Cadmio. This is Mary Blue. It's an Italian brand. Also stunning, but a little harsh, I think, for this particular situation. I think that might be much. And I would probably love a yellow. So we've got the entire palette that we did before that actually fits beautifully. And then we could add a few. So let's just see if we added some yellows. So the yellow I'm after is the yellow from these guys. So let's see. So that looks quite nice. I'm dying to introduce the pink because I love having pink in my flowers. So let's make that a little puddle there. To me, it's pretty close. If I added a little brown to my rose, to my Shell Pink, you're going to get some stunning colors again, which would be part of that. Gorgeous, just gorgeous. And I would brown that up. So more brown, less Shell Pink. And look at the color we're getting there. So I just added the pink and the yellow to the story. The Buff Titanium is just a delicious color in general. So let's add a little bit of yellow ochre to the Buff Titanium. And we get the softer beiges from there. So I really love the pink. The orange I find maybe just a bit strong for this palette. Let's mix it with some yellow ochre and some buff and see what we get. That's a little strong for our palette, I find. It's not what I was after, but it's a beautiful color, but it's not exactly what I was after. What I'm looking for is how to make that have a little yellower. I want a yellow. Maybe just a true yellow, a lemon yellow. I think that would be the way I would go if I was trying to mimic that. That's a beautiful yellow. All the stripes in my shells are the same colors that we've done before over here. So the stripes would be a Payne's Gray or a very strong brown. The Payne's Gray would be, I would think this one would have a little bit of Payne's Gray and maybe mix in some brown. There we go. That's more like the color. So you see what we've done here is we've taken nature, we've found a palette that works beautifully, and depending on what you're doing, you could use this palette to suit yourself. It would be a very beautiful painting, let's be honest. Let's take these off. They're wet because I washed them, because I'm not a neat freak, but I'm a germaphobe, so I was terrified I was going to get sick from touching the shells. How about that? So there you have it. So that's quite a telling palette. I would definitely enjoy working with that. It's beautiful and all from nature, all discovered in nature. So it's a beautiful way to start and launch a painting. If you're going to do a painting, it's fun to plan it out. It makes it a little bit more logical and harmonious. So this would be a harmonious painting because we can already see that it's harmonious. So that's the idea behind getting your palette in nature.